And with me in the booth is Heavings.
Hey, hey.
And racing for us, we've got Ultimate Derp, we've got Attacks, and also we've got 10. But 10 won't be on stream for this race. I'm going to go over the flags, and if I get to something that I'm not too sure about, I'll ask Heavings about it. Sound good?
Sounds great. Let it rip.
All right, first we've got Expert Logic. That just means that the crests can be included in the logical path of the seed. So warping around might be necessary. We've got a Shattered Sky Coin with 16 to 32 random pieces. The Doom Castle is standard, so runners will need to collect the... I didn't check if the shortcut was on. Oh well. Runners will need to collect the... Okay, thank you. The Dragon Claw, the Mega Grenades, the Captain's Cap, at least one of the crests. Is Crest Shuffle on?
It is not.
Okay. So specifically Mobius Crest. They'll also need the Thunder Rock. I think that's it. No, Suncoin, maybe.
More than likely.
More than likely. We've got red chests not prioritized. The runners have also started. So.
Yeah, and it is a rough start. Not to derail you from going over the flag set real quick, but while they're going through this battlefield, the quick highlight of one of the other settings we turned on. Well, I say we. I kind of had free reign to make this as mean as possible, and I chose the medium spice. So it's still a little mean. One of the settings you're seeing the results of right now is the Randomizer attacks is set to the new setting Balanced Expert. So if you're familiar with the original safe setting, that has been changed to Balanced. And there's been a new setting added to the Randomizer in the recent 1.6 update called Balanced Expert. It's the same as safe, except the enemies tend to have stronger attacks. So all of your enemies will tend to swing a little bit harder and use some of the attacks in the pool that are just a little bit spicier than normal. So both of our runners dipping from that battlefield, which gave them through the ringer. Going to be picking up an Aegis shield here in Kaylee's house. Always having the goods, but nothing in Cure Box. But back to the settings there, Giga. Sorry to interrupt.
That's perfectly fine. Where even was I? Battlefields are prioritized, so our runners do want to finish that battlefield at some point. They just can't at the moment because they're too weak. We have brown chests included in the... brown chest rewards are shuffled, so... any consumables are not going to be where you expect them to be. We have 50 to 100% enemy scaling, but also 0% enemy density, so we're probably not going to see any of them outside battlefields. I say probably, that's not a necessary word to include. We're definitely not going to see any of them outside battlefields. 75 to 125% boss scaling. And resistances and weaknesses are shuffled. Do you have the list in front of you?
I do. So
anything important?
Big notes for the resistance shuffle. Holy and Earth have flip-flopped, so Dark King is going to be susceptible to Earth damage, which is going to be big once we get to the spellbook shuffle results. Also, fire, water's been shuffled into fire, so Flare will now do half damage against Dark King. Unfortunate, but it is a thing. Fire's been shuffled into bombs. Air has been shuffled into air, so same thing there. And bombs have been shuffled into projectile weakness and projectile into water. So the big jerk birds will be weak to snowmen, but not arrows and shurikens. Those are the big notes. And stone has been shuffled into doom. Doom has been shuffled into stone. So unfortunately, we'll not see any boss petrifications tonight outside of, Skuller's Rex.
Mm-hmm. We have a standard Doom Castle, speaking of. So Skullrus will show up where he's supposed to. All the floors for the Doom Castle will be standard build. That's part of why the Dragonclaw is required, actually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I figured we'd been having enough community event seeds where we've been cruising past and having these straight shot staircases either directly to Dark King or the boss rush, and I was like, you know what? It's been a while. Let's see if everybody remembers how to get through quickly the Doom Castle OG. So this is just kind of a memory check for anybody who's familiar with speedrunning or running the original, as kind of a, hey, do you remember how to do this? And speaking of remembering, some of our runners are being a little challenged right now. Not too difficultly, but we do have a new setting up in the flag set. So a part of the 1.6 update is Dungeon Shuffle was updated to be mixed. So Dungeon Shuffle could be mixed between all the dungeons in the game, or the setting that we're showcasing tonight is Dungeon Shuffle Internal. So all the dungeons have their floors internally mixed up. So all the Bone Dungeon floors will be the same. They'll just be shuffled amongst themselves. And the same thing goes with any other dungeon location. So it'll make navigation a little tricky, but not so tricky that you need to pull out a notepad, an Excel sheet, or some visualizer to make sense of what's happening.
Just store it in your head. It's okay.
I mean, and with Dungeon Internal, you can. That's the nice thing. Like, you'll get tripped up a couple times, but like, Ice Pyramid and Lava Dome are the big ones that'll get you. And yeah, chat, Vanilla Doom Castle's making a comeback. Let's go.
Yeah.
So yeah, it should be a good time. Unfortunately, Ultimate Turfs get bodied by frogs. They did not shuffle kindly. I believe the Mint-Mints and the frogs both got a fire attack that is just laying out Ben, but Phoebe's getting through it, although her bow accuracy's been a little spotty from what I've been seeing. And really quick, I did want to touch on the shuffles for the spell books. So we have two partners available tonight, Phoebe and Ruben. Phoebe has Exit at level 7, Cure at 15, Heal at 15, Blizzard at 15, and Meteor at 34. Ruben gets Fire at 7, Arrow at 15, Blizzard at 23, and White at 23. So an early Ruben could be beneficial, like if you just want to knock out 2 quests objectives for Ruben and level him up to 23 so you can start blasting away with White. But Phoebe is probably going to be the best partner to take for tonight's flag set just because of her resistances and the fact that Earth will do regular damage to Dark King. But we'll see what the runners do.
Mm-hmm. Getting back to the flags, our partners will be leveling up from quests. Do we have? We do have the quests in front of us. Let me see what we've got. For Phoebe, we have to clear the mine battlefield, which is the one that they're doing right now. Actually, I believe.
Yes,
we have to collect 18 refreshers, defeat the snow crab, and save the crystal wind, or save the crystal wind. For Ruben, it'll be clearing 7 battlefields, defeating 7 mini-bosses, collecting 13 sky fragments, and visiting the mine when he's in your party.
Yeah, both partners seem to have 3 of their 4 quests to be pretty simple. Crab, 18 refreshers, and Mine Battlefield are pretty trivial for Phoebe. Saving the Crystal Wind will be a little annoying. So, honestly, I don't see our runners maxing out Phoebe, getting her to like top tier Phoebe tonight. Level 34 is probably going to be just fine for our runners. Ruben, on the other hand, again, 7 battlefields, 13 fragments, and visiting the mines of the Ruben is all pretty simple tasks. 7 mini bosses can take up a lot of time, and since Ruben's objectively like not as good as Phoebe, I don't really foresee that being a play by our runners tonight. But I could be pleasantly surprised. We'll see. And yeah, chat. Crystal Wind is always a little convoluted.
Mm-hmm. We do have a 4x leveling curve. That's what I'm familiar with, at least.
Yes, and that was specifically put in place to offset the lack of enemy encounters inside the dungeons. So since our main source of XP is going to be bosses, mini-bosses, and battlefields, we wanted to make sure that Ben ended up at a solid level for the final fight. I think if you do every encounter that's available, you'll end up somewhere around the 24 to 25 level region at max. So pretty safe all in all. But again, the limited amount of encounters is offset by the amount of exploration and just treasure hunting that our runners are going to have to do. And that's kind of the theme of this flag set tonight. Is this is a treasure hunter seed. So everything you do is in the vein of finding hints and finding items. And speaking of finding items, eagle-eyed viewers will see that we have a brand new little robot hanging out here in Foresta. That is our new hint NPC introduced in 1.6. Tonight he is set to
250
his hints
GP progressive hints. Sorry.
Yes. No, you're fine. So what that means is the first hint that you use from any of the NPCs will cost 250 GP. Every subsequent hint will increase by 250 GP. So 250, 500, 750, 1,000 GP for the final hint.
There's four.
There's 4 hint NPCs. Yep, 1 per town and all the major inns. And I say this in quotes that you can't see because I just call the forest an inn, quote unquote, the dab house, because it doesn't cost any money. You just walk into the bed and you're cured for free. But I guess you could think of it as a free inn. More like you're just popping into someone's house and taking a rest. But I mean, that is the inn.
As a Canadian, it feels more like a hospital to me.
Fair enough.
Free healthcare.
True. But yeah, the hint NPCs I'll be interested to see if our runners use tonight. I feel like the new edition of the hint NPCs adds a little variety to the use of money. Before it was like basically exclusively reserved for seed purchases. Now you can get a little strategic with your money usage you're spending instead of just, dumping everything into seeds.
It does make green battlefields a little bit more valuable too.
Mm-hmm. So just anything related to money is like increased in value with that setting.
Should we go into the newbie stuff?
Yeah.
So, if you're not aware, battlefields in the randomizer are color-coded to their rewards. Gray battlefields will always give you an experience reward. Green battlefields will always give you a money reward. And blue battlefields will always give you an item reward. This also counts for the graphics on them. Experience battlefields have the regular graphics from the original Mystic Quest. Money battlefields have a money bag, and item battlefields have a treasure chest.
Yep, and those were considerations we took it in terms as a community for any of our community members who might be color deficient. So if you're blue-green colorblind, don't worry. You'll still be able to visually distinguish when you turn on the battlefield shuffle what reward is given from what battlefield at a glance.
What else is there to mention?
We could talk about the spell books.
We could.
Yeah. So we hadn't really played with this setting a lot in our community flags, but I really like the spellbook shuffle specifically. So what it does is it shuffles your companion spellbooks. Tonight we have it set to random balanced. So the description from the tooltip says randomize the spellbooks with an appropriate mix of spells. Sometimes that appropriate mix does not include wizard spells. Sometimes it does. But all in all, it kind of gives like an even split total of spells available to our partners. The other option available for Spellbook Shuffle is random chaos. So randomizes the spellbook in total free-for-all. So sometimes you'll get a party member with no spells, and other times you'll get them stacked to the gills with every wizard spell available. So it's just kind of up to fate at that point what spells we get. But tonight we're using the balanced one. And life on Hatak's side, always
Do
nice
you
to get.
know if random balanced for spells considers party members who are never going to be in your party?
Great question. I do not know off the top of my head, but we do have our lovely developer in chat. He might be able to add some clarity to that.
Here's hoping.
Yeah. So runners, we got a kind of a jet seed. Like we've been talking about these seed settings and everything, but I'm looking over at Hatax's tracker. He's already got Mobius Crest, River Coin, Mega Grenades. I've seen a couple spells that he's gotten so far, so he's pretty loaded up already. Not to mention Phoebe started with Exit. So pretty strong setup here in terms of traversal. It's just no confusion immunities really giving him the business. Meanwhile, Ultimate Derp is really struggling with this Fireberg battlefield. These Salamanders rolled pretty nasty, and so did the Red Caps. So the enemies that are here in this flag set are giving our runners the business a little bit. And that is part of the balanced expert settings. But again, I chose balanced expert for this flag set to offset the fact that you do not have many encounters in general. So while the attack set is going to be a little meaner than normal, that's offset by the fact that you just don't have a lot of like throwaway fights in dungeons at all.
Right, and these Flazzards, they've rolled some sort of multi-target fire attack that's really powerful.
Yeah, I haven't been able to see the name of it, but it's got to be like Wyvern or Hydra's breath attack.
I'm thinking either Flame Pillar or Heat Wave.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And if it was Heat Wave, Phoebe could, once she got high enough level, she could resist the damage because Heat Wave's coded to be fire and wind. But unfortunately, Phoebe is still level 7 on Ultimate Derp screen, so no wind resistance quite yet.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, we found that out, I forget when, a little while ago, but for some reason, when Heat Wave hits Phoebe, it'll say that she resisted the fire damage, when in actuality, she's resisting the wind damage from that attack.
Interesting.
But the text on screen says fire damage, so we were all confused, and we looked into the code, it's like, oh, it's fire wind. That's why. Oh, got an answer from Ham. So yes, when you shuffle the companion spellbooks, it does account for companions not available. So companions that don't show up don't get spells.
I think the main problem that Ultima Derp is running into at the moment is going in a little bit too deep on these Flazzards.
Yeah, instead of maybe fishing for another encounter or another battlefield where things could get a little more nice. But then again, it was kind of required because if you look at it, they just got the river coin. So I don't think they had any other battlefield options in terms of leveling up available to them. So that's also kind of the offset. Is like if your progression's gated behind a battlefield and you don't have a lot of XP options available, you can be gated behind that battlefield, which is what happened. But thankfully, they managed to make their way through it.
Mm-hmm. And there were no other battlefields, but that battlefield did have red caps.
Yeah, so you could save scum and like move up and down and manipulate RNG and hope to get a red cap encounter instead. But yeah, the triple lizard formation really given Ultima Derp the business there, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. Meanwhile, looks like Hatox is duping refreshers, just going to go ahead and duplicate his way into hitting that target objective for Phoebe instead of checking brown boxes and hoping that they get what they need.
It's not the worst idea. It's not fast in terms of racing, but I've done it before. It's easy at the very least. If you got a fight you know you can run from.
Yep, indeed. And it's also a bit of a gamble. Ooh, Jerkbird floor 6. Very nice. Very nice. No need to go through the labyrinth here. We know where the Jerkbird is. Just need to hit the switch and kill him.
We already have an axe, but it's not quite time to fight him yet.
Yep, and it might not be worth it. Like, it is a quest objective for Phoebe, but honestly, that I only see that happening if our runners really feel the need to get her up to level 42. Other than that, 41. Other than that, unless there's something gated behind floor 7 chest, which we haven't been able to peek yet. We have been able to peek it. We didn't peek it. Unless there's something hidden behind killing Pazuzu, I really don't see us taking him out tonight.
That was a silly staircase that the tax went through.
Yeah, P Tower can get a little funky here. It's not as bad as Lava Dome or Ice Pyramid, but P Tower is its own little shuffle hazard with these little staircases here. Sometimes it can get a little confusing as to how many times you've gone up and down stairs and which staircase leads to where. Floor 4 is kind of our nexus of this dungeon just because it has 4 different exits on it. So this one can be a little weird, but again, our runners have the safety net of having exit. So if at any point they feel like they're confused or they're lost, they could just exit out like we just saw Hatox do. And I saw on Ultima Derp stream, There's a brown box behind Jerkbird, so no need to kill the big chicken if they don't want to, unless they really want to level up Phoebe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in terms of object... Go ahead.
It doesn't. Go. You go ahead.
I was going to say, in terms of objectives there for whether or not duping refreshers or hunting them down is quicker, I guess it really all just kind of comes down to RNG. If you find a good farming spot, like right here, this refresher farm, not awful. But sometimes you don't get a good refresher farm, and in which case it might be a little faster to just power level Phoebe up sooner rather than later. And I think Hatox, forgetting for a second there, he almost talked to the vendor there, and he was like, wait. NPCs are set to exclude. So for tonight's flag set, none of our NPCs will have any key items. That means none of our vendors will have key items. Spencer won't have a key item. Venus key chests won't have key items because they're coded to be NPCs. White won't have any key items, and none of your partners will have any key items. But we get a Apollo helmet from level 4, so that old man, since he's not important, he doesn't have any key items, is probably going to be doomed to be stuck behind that boulder for all eternity. Sorry, old man.
We're cutting down the trees anyways. He's got a way out.
I mean, he could just walk out south if we're being frank about it. But, you know, he's just... I'm not moving from this spot till this boulder moves. So, his stubbornness is his own. It looks like Hatox going for that refresher farm instead of duping them. Looks like he was going to dupe a couple, but decided to find a farm spot. And this is not a bad farm spot at all. Quest complete already.
Phoebe's tier 3.
Mm-hmm. So one more level and then Phoebe's online in terms of damage. She'll have Meteor. So while the animation time will be longer, it'll be double that of White. Because of Phoebe's stat scaling, it'll also do way more damage than she would do with White. She'll be doing like 2k easy with Meteor.
We have a question from Erdemus in chat. It appears Hatox did not grab the Charm Claw out of Pazuzu's tower.
Yeah, it looks like it. So I think Hatox might have thought that he checked every entrance that was available in P Tower and dipped. Thankfully, it is just the Charm Claw. Now, that being said, I say just Charm Claw. If a check is claw gated, he could be in some trouble here, and this will allow Ultimate Derp to catch up to him. But then again, he could also get lucky, find the Cat Claw or Dragon Claw, in which case that'll put him back in the running here. But that does offset him a little bit, being a little bit behind Ultima. Though Ultima does not have his Mega Grenades yet.
There are a lot of red chests in this gold maze.
Oh, yeah.
Including
with
the Sun.
Yeah, with shards turned on, the red chests are at a surplus here. Getting Tree Wither, that is useless in this flag set, and you hate to see it, but it is what it is. Kaylee's mom will not be handing out any goodies.
She does not have it going on.
No, not tonight at least. She's all about the void right now. Sorry, fellas. And we're seeing the effects of not picking up that Charm Claw in P Tower right there. Hatox running into a claw wall that could have been explored, and except they inadvertently faded a claw check. 14 shards. We need how many tonight? 31, so a bit on the higher side. As a reminder for shard hunt, there are 40 shards total in the entire world. We only need a set amount to get to the Skycoin door. So tonight we only need 31 shards. You do not need to find all 40. That being said, you can miss 9 shards and still get through the final door.
Mm-hmm. The maximum for any flag set is 38, I believe.
40.
No, I mean...
like for any flag set?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're
the
right.
maximum
Sorry, I thought you meant like...
be forced to collect.
Yeah. I believe that's
the
the
maximum
highest
that
number.
exists.
Yeah. Thankfully, a 40 isn't an option. Oh, White. Very nice.
40 should be an option.
True. If you just want to reassemble the whole pie, 40 should be an option on there. Ham, you heard it. Let's have 40 as an option.
Just fix 40.
Yep. Find every piece. Rope Bridge having a fragment. Very nice. We know Venus Key Chest and North Focus Tower is going to have anything, and unfortunately, Hatak's getting rewarded with soda that he doesn't need anymore in North Focus Tower. This is a Fireberg battlefield. This could be one of our baby ones. I don't think we've seen Tree Battlefield yet. Ghosts and Skelly Boys.
The Fireberg tree battlefield, you mean? Because we have seen the original tree battlefield.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I meant the Fireberg Tree Battlefield. The one east of Fireberg originally. That being said, I don't think we've seen the double flight, I believe they call them.
I-flight,
or
yeah.
I-flight. Yeah, I-flight. I believe that's a
Ifrit,
mistranslation. It's supposed to be Ifrit. Yeah. I hate that battlefield so much. So many ambushes. Ultimate Derp now getting their Mega Grenade, so a little bit more exploration set than Hatak's. That being said, Hatak's does have a steel sword, so Ice Pyramid is on the table. And there could be another Claw waiting. You only need Claw to get down to Ice Golem floors.
Is that true?
Yeah, so you need in the randomizer. It's been coded that if you try to fall down the floors, you would use.
That's not what I mean. What I mean is, don't you need the sword to get through the third floor?
Yes, you do. I meant like the claw is the only needed once you get to the hole. Yeah.
The claw is required for the hole after you bomb it. Also, I recall seeing on GameFAQs someone had cheated their save to give themselves the Mega Grenades in vanilla before completing the Ice Pyramid. However, they could not, for the life of them, hit the cracked floor with the Mega Grenades. It's impossible. The randomizer,
really? Like even if
it's completely impossible. The randomizer edits that to be a solid block, like the bombable boulders or bone piles.
Yeah, that's probably needed for the best. I didn't know that in vanilla, if you manipulated the memory to give yourself Mega Grenades, that you couldn't just line up max distance and have the Mega Grenade naturally explode that tile.
There's no tile you can stand on for that to happen.
Oh boy. Fun fact of the day. I did not know that. Then again, I don't manipulate memory in the in the game that much, so.
I do.
Oh, hey. little development from Ham. Yeah, apparently they found that in beta testing before 1.0. They're like, hey, I can't bomb this with megas.
Yeah, I can imagine that showed up real quick.
Yeah. As well as enemies popping up in locations that block jumps or entrances unintentionally. There's been a lot of little minor edits for quality of life stuff to make this randomizer run as smoothly as possible, and I appreciate Ham and everybody who was on the original beta testing team for finding that stuff early. And speaking of finding stuff early, we found Mr. Krabs pretty quickly, and he is down, so Phoebe's online. She's at the maximum level we need her to be. Obviously, we could go kill Jerkbird and get her even more online. Get her up to level 41 to make her Super Phoebe, but realistically, with this flag set, that's not strictly necessary.
Mr. Krabs was also really feeling it. He had seeds.
Yeah, I love to get a goodie from the mini bosses, you know? Sometimes it's nice to be rewarded for your efforts.
The Rainbow Bridge is online on Hatax's side. Are we going to see a hint? No.
No hint yet, unfortunately. Let's see if Grandma and Grandpa are loaded tonight. Christmas presents? One Christmas present. We got fire. About the equivalent of getting socks in the randomizer, but you know, it's a present.
At least it's not coal.
No, that would be getting the Quake book out of one of those boxes. That means that you are not Grandma and Grandpa's favorite grandchild if you find Quake in those boxes.
Both of our runners fighting in battlefields at the moment. Both item battlefields.
Yep, Hatak's having a much easier time of it, just casually throwing out meteors to do over 1,000 damage to both the jelly and the what is it? Stingrat? Yeah.
Yeah. Hatox has a tier 4 Phoebe. He has that privilege.
Yep. Just throwing it out casually.
Missed what the reward was from the left battlefield.
That was the sand coin for Ultima Derp, who has now decided to go check out Doulahan. No Dragon Claw, but checking Mount Gale over here. Looks like there was a red chest. No, it was a brown box. Unfortunate.
You can get to that one by going up the middle staircase.
Yep. Cut down south, head up the middle staircase, and walk right up to it, thankfully. The best peak that I've found for that box specifically is head north, jump across the bridge, and it should come in a line of sight. If it's a brown box, it's really quick to get out. If it's a red chest, it's not too far out of your way to just double back and walk up to it manually. Or if you have Dragon Claw, you could zip across the grapple. So all in all, not a bad check to make. And the one of two that you can peek in Mount Gale. There's only 3 chests in Mount Gale total.
The third one being underneath Dellahan.
Mm-hmm. See if we get a hint from Ultima Derp here. Nope. Both of our runners holding fast, not wanting to take any hints. Which is fair.
They have to have enough money for the hints, right?
Oh, for sure. I would still talk to one of them to see what hints they're handing out. But we got Flare from that battlefield for Hatox. Going to be great for clearing out mobs and fighting some of the bosses, but not going to be great on Dark King. Because like we said, Dark King is going to be resisting Fire Element tonight.
This could be a significant play going into the Bone Dungeon.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully Hatox hasn't forgotten that he did not complete Bone Dungeon earlier. But it looks like instead we're going to Spencer's Cave. Just going to go ahead and blow it up and make progression to get Mac's ship online.
Mm-hmm. We don't have the cap, so we can't actually talk to Mac and have him clear all the monsters on his ship. But we can potentially enter the ship and see what's in the chests.
Indeed. Now, a little fun tidbit while I was testing out these flags to see what settings we would have for this month. Originally, I didn't have it on Dungeon Internal. I had it on Dungeon Full Mix. And it kind of changed the whole premise of the seed. Instead of it being a treasure hunting seed, it was a where the heck is Mac's seed. Because, fun fact, Mac's room can be shuffled amongst any dungeon location when you turn that setting on. So he could literally be anywhere. So not only do you have to find Mac's hat, you have to find out where Mac is. And fun fact, he's not always on his ship.
He could be anywhere. He could
Literally
be through
anywhere.
here.
I spent like an hour and a half one night just trying to find where Mac ended up. It was such a nightmare. I was like, where is he? Where is the captain? I have everything I need. I have his hat. Let me give you your hat, dude. Where are you?
Yeah, that kind of seed would necessitate note-taking, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, Rex has some goodies behind him. This should be quick, fast. Now, fun fact, as much as my memory betrayed me before, Flameless Rex is indeed not weak to Earth Element. He's only weak to zombie attack. But because zombie and Earth flipped, that meteor did 4,800 damage, which would outclass any roll that Flameless Rex would get for HP. So
yeah,
it's a non-issue.
You mentioned Holy before, and I was wondering about that.
Yeah, Earth and Holy flip-flopped. So all of our undead enemies are going to hate rocks.
I was pretty sure Holy didn't exist, and you meant zombie, which you did.
At Holy zombie, you can call it whatever you want. Kira does damage. My brain defaults to Holy damage.
There's the steel sword.
Yep. So it was hiding out in the sand coin chest. Still looking for Dragon Claw and Captain's Cap. I think that's the only two pieces we're missing for go mode on Hatox's side. And again, Ultima Derp having that Charm Claw is going to give them access to make checks that Hatox can't make yet. So this could give them a leg up, even though Hatox is a little bit ahead in terms of leveling and just overall exploration progression. There are some stuff that they can't find. Unfortunately, Ultima does not have enough to purchase a hint. Looks like he was going to check the Fireberg hint vendor. But it looks like they spent all their money either on seeds or they haven't been doing their green battlefields. So no hints. Hatak's running for max ship. He's going to make the gamble that everything he needs is on max ship. And honestly, I don't blame you. We've seen Captain Caps here. We've seen Dragonclaw here. My man checking bow of ship. You love to see it.
It's not a bad check. Not the ship in general, not the bow. It could be red. It's not.
Yep.
It could have been.
Indeed. Now, fun fact about max ship, because of the way that falling floors work with any of the dungeon shuffles, B2 is always going to be located directly below B1. Just because if it wasn't, it would soft lock you sometimes. So this staircase that Hatox is about to take to go back up, this staircase will always connect B1 and B2. Always the same. Same thing with falling anywhere on B1 on max ship. You fall through the floor on B1, you will always end up on your respective location that you're supposed to on B2. That being said, staircases are a free game. Hey, Catclaw!
That's an unfortunate find.
Yeah. Well, unfortunate for Ultima Derp. That is going to give Hatox all the same access that he would, that Ultima would have over having the Charm Claw. So still no Dragon Claw yet.
Attack technically doesn't need to go find the Charm Claw.
Yep.
But they do both need the Dragon Claw still, and having the Cat Claw rather is objectively worse. The Charm Claw.
Indeed. Although let's be real, with the Mega Grenades being in play, the only real offensive damage that our runners are going to be vying for when they do physical attacks is going to be with Megas. Outside of that, I don't see our runners using Charm Claw all that much, unless they're just out of spell charges and they need something.
I've seen Ultima Derp using Charm Claw a few times.
Indeed. But I think that was before he found Megas, though.
It could have been, yeah. I don't recall.
Yeah. So, taking on the big Jin, both of our runners actually reconverging. Going to be heading their way through mines. Going to go ahead and take out Jin. Mine shuffle's funny here. So, it's just like 3 rooms that get shuffled amongst themselves, and it's fun to see which one lands where.
Isn't it 4?
Both of our runners... Yep. It's like... Hold on. 1, 2... Yeah, no. Technically 4. You're right. So, the 3 here on this upper path, and then the last one behind Jin. But seeing them shuffled amongst themselves is funny, especially when you land on the ledge where Aaron is before fighting Jin. And it's like, why do I even need to fight the boss? But both of our runners now have... Yeah, go ahead.
You don't need to fight the boss in that case.
Nope, not at all. Not unless you want to check one specific chest. But both of our runners got rewarded with Cupid Locket here. Oh, wow. Hatox is just saying, I don't feel like fighting Jin at all. Fair enough.
The Gaia armor was behind Jin. So, Hatox will be getting that.
Yep. So for anybody who's curious why Hatox is really, really not liking that wall right there next to the entrance, don't be alarmed. He's not a wall hater, I promise. He's setting up for a glitch.
I can explain it if you want.
Yeah, go for it.
So, the event of the elevator gets stored when you use your Mega Grenades when they're completely out on the elevator. And if you stand in that particular location that Hatox stood in, just one tile above the bottom of the wall, north of the Jin, then it will activate the elevator event again and shift you down, I believe it was 7 tiles? Either 7 or 8 tiles. And if you do that twice, as you saw, Hatox was 1 tile north of the door, so he could walk south because that tile does not have collision. And collision in Mystic Quest only takes into account the whether the tile in front of you is A, a wall, or B, on a lower layer than you. Or higher layer. Because there are 2 layers.
Indeed.
So,
and if I remember...
since that tile did not have collision and was on the same layer, he could walk onto it.
Mm-hmm. And if I remember correctly, that glitch is used in the speedrun.
It is, yes.
So the
Minor
80% speed run.
I
And
don't see why
Hatak's
it
making
wouldn't
his.
be.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely faster than fighting Jin and Vanilla, that's for sure. And Hatak's now finally making his way through Ice Pyramid here. Now that he has Cat Claw, he was gated by a claw wall after entering Ice Pyramid here. Like it was like 2 floors, 2 doors in, 2 entrances. The way that shuffled.
I wasn't paying the most attention, but that would make sense.
Yep. Hey, this is a loaded noble armor room. What's it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and there's Dragon Claw. So all we need is Cap, and we're in go mode.
Mm. Do you know where Cap could still be?
Literally anywhere except for Doom Castle.
Right, but where have we checked already?
So I think we have half a lava dome still available because neither of the runners found. Hatox didn't have a claw to climb up the little claw wall to lead to another entrance to find Hydra Door switch. So we have half a lava dome left. We have the rest of Ice Pyramid available. Some of P Tower was left unchecked by Hatox. I don't know if Ultima Derp finished fully checking P Tower as well. I believe Wintry Cave was checked. I'm trying to think. Aside from that, I think all the other locations that normally are in play have been checked. Besides mini bosses. So we haven't seen Medusa, we haven't seen Dullahan, we haven't seen we have seen Squidite, I believe.
I noticed something weird just now.
Hmm.
Hatax still doesn't have any bombs left in his inventory. However, he was able to open the cracked floor anyways.
Yep, so that's another kind of quote-unquote perk of doing the Mega Grenade glitch is when you go to use Mega Grenades in any other location without loading an animation in, instead of going through the whole throw and wait for the explosion animation, you just press A and any exploding or bombable objects just disappear without any fanfare. So you just delete them out of existence if you keep 0 bombs on hand. So no worries about not being able to finish the run, especially when they get the Doom Castle. They'll just press A and delete that skull that they need to bomb to grapple over to Rex.
Well, worst case scenario, they could just open brown chests and look for bombs.
Very true. I'm trying to double check. What did bomb element roll into?
Bomb element rolled into
fire. So anything that was weak or resistant to fire is now weak or resistant to bombs, which means that we could have exploded a snowman, but again, we have spells that do way more damage than that, so no need.
Mm-hmm. Should I mention about the bomb's damage formula?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, the bomb damage formula is... Let me get it up in front of me, so I have it...
Yep.
I'm not going to misinform anyone.
You're fine. I also just remembered another location we haven't seen much of. Giant Tree, because a lot of it's Dragon Claw gated. So Giant Tree is now on the table, now that Hatox has Dragon Claw.
I've got it in front of me, the bomb damage formula. So, for regular bombs, it's a power value of 112, Jumbo's is 200, Mega's is 288. You multiply that by 2.25, divide it by the amount of enemies you're hitting, and that's the damage you do. Or subtracted after you subtract the defense, of course.
Yep. And that roughly shakes out to be a consistent 600 plus damage on single targets, making Mega Grenades a really nice find for early game. Like, it's just nice, consistent damage in general.
288 times 2.25 is 648, and enemies don't really have all that much defense, do they?
No, not really. And you can't miss with explosives.
You sure can't.
Even if you're blind. So.
I think they're classed as spells, technically.
Yeah, except they don't, for some reason, they coded it in to not proc the reflect damage property. So there are spells that can't be reflected. You know, science, magic.
Maybe it's just that multi-target attacks can't be dodged? No, that's not the case, because single-target spells can't be dodged.
Yeah.
Attacks fading another chest.
Oh, he did. He might have peeked it before and saw that was brown. I was not
Maybe.
paying attention, unfortunately. I was looking to see where Ultima Derp was, who is steadily I wouldn't say catching up, but making some checks that Hatox hasn't made yet. So adding a nice little divergence here. Getting Meteor. One sec.
That chest to the south is one that's really easy to miss, though. Meanwhile, Ultima Derp's just milling about, getting checks in the water region that perhaps he hasn't done yet.
Yep, and Hatox making his way through the maze of the mushroom floors here with Dungeon Internal Shuffle. This floor in particular trips me up sometimes because I sometimes will forget, did I come through the bottom left or the bottom right or which entrance did I come out of? And this room especially is a little annoying. So that door at the top of the room here, in the randomizer, you have to defeat Ghidra before that door will open up. So if Hatox wants to full clear Giant Tree to make sure he doesn't miss anything, he's going to need to fight the Chimera.
In vanilla, you have to beat Ghidra before that opens up, too.
No, I think it's open by default.
No,
I thought.
it's not. Not to my
Okay.
knowledge, anyways. We can check.
Yep, and there's also a note from our both of our runners now having a money deficit going in to finally check the hint NPC there, but we did see a red chest on floor 2 of Giant Tree, so that the entrance that Ghidra door would normally connect to, there's a red chest there, which could be our captain's cap. We don't know yet.
Attack's just now opening the sun door.
Yeah, I believe he was taking an exit warp through a temple before to get over to the windier region. Breaking logic a little bit, but again, expert logic accounts for that warping ability. So,
Unfortunately, still out of bombs. And fighting an enemy that reflects spells, so...
Yep, and yes, chat, that is the meteor chest. So, that is vanilla meteor chest.
Ah, okay. I've been wrong before. I'll be wrong again.
It's okay. Well, I can't remember the last time. It's been so long since I played vanilla. I'm running off memory here, and sometimes memory's unreliable. Let's see what's down here. Exit, very nice. So double exit on Ultima Derp's side. I don't believe Hatox doubled. Nope, he did not double back and check the Sun Coin chest. Although realistically, now that Phoebe's had exit for so long, not really necessary.
Indeed.
And like I said, these Skelly boys really don't like big rocks because of the Holy Earth element inversion here, getting hit for 1,500 apiece. Big damage.
The biggest. Well, not the biggest.
Yeah, a Phoebe Flare would be the biggest damage.
Phoebe Flare on something that's weak to it.
Yeah. I forget what that roll turns out to be, but I think it's somewhere close to 5k.
I mean, there's bigger damage, but that's a glitch.
Yeah. So yeah, I think Lava Dome, unless it's behind Ghidra door, Lava Dome might be our checks. Hatox in a bit of a scramble here. I think he's trying to kind of suss out where he should go next. He's got all these options, but just not being able to land on the final destination that he needs to find max cap.
Want to make a bet?
Yeah, sure.
My bet is it's in Lava Dome.
Lava Dome does seem like the most viable location just because of the density there. I'll say tree just to be mean. Not to be mean to our runners, but just to be mean in terms of RNG, I'll say it's in tree.
Specifically behind the Ghidra chest?
Yes, behind that door, however it's shuffled. But it looks like, okay, so Hatox has decided to farm money to get hint currency. And he landed on the 1200 GP battlefield. So he can run to any town now, take a hint. And he's got plenty of cash. I think he scrolled so fast he didn't see how much money he got from that reward, but I saw it was 1200. And NPC is in the inns of all the towns. So here we go. Captain's Cap. There it is. It is in Lava Dome. So you were right. Hydra room. So they have to find the way into Hydra's lair. So Ultima Derp is on the right path. Now that we've gotten it confirmed.
You might as well fight it, right?
Yeah, I mean, you could exit out too.
You could, yeah. Oh, this might be a loop. I'm not
you
sure
think this
if
might
Ultima...
loop to the bottom right?
Yeah. I'm not sure if Ultima's seen this room before.
I don't... oh, God. It could be a loop. Yeah, sorry. This is the door nexus here. I call it the door nexus because there's just so many entrances on first floor. Lava Dome. Now, that being said, on Dungeon Shuffle internal, I said eternal. The top right 3 doors, so the ones that lead to the treasury and to the useless room, those have actually been segregated off. The little drop that you can do with the claw wall has been removed. That's also been removed on Dungeon Shuffle Mixed as well, just to add some more variance in the way that the dungeons can be shuffled amongst themselves. But Ultima Derp now has Captain's Cap. Realistically, doesn't need anything else. I think they just need shards, and they're in go mode. I don't have a shard count on Ultima Derp.
Ultima Derp's in the 10s. And Hatax is in the 20s somewhere.
And again, our runners need 31
31
for go mode. So Hatox is at 32. He's technically got all the pieces he needs for Skycoin. So all Hatox needs is to find this Captain's Cap, and he's in go mode.
The Giant's Axe. They're being mean.
Yeah.
You know why they're being mean?
Lay it on me.
No Kaylee.
Yeah, the community is very, very divisive on which girl is best girl. I know that you're in Camp Kaylee. There's a lot of folks that are Camp Phoebe.
I don't know who else is Camp Kaylee.
There's a couple other people. There's a handful of people I've seen out there that are diehard Kaylee fans, and I don't blame them. I mean, she's got petrification resistance, and I mean, she swings a big old axe. And honestly, with the spell shuffle being available and resistance shuffle being available, there's a lot of possibility for her to be the most viable party member in some situations.
I would also say she's the most viable love interest.
Fair enough. So this right here, this section, these 3 doors, those have been segregated off in the new shuffle settings. So again, Hatox using his ninja magic to poof boulders out of existence because no mega grenades still. And chat and their eagle eyes have now spotted the inventory. Ultima Derp is up to 25 shards. So Ultima is only 6 shards away from go mode. Meanwhile, Hatox's still trying to find Hydra Lair.
I wonder if Ultima's all too happy about that Apollo helm, considering he already had Moon helm.
You know, it's a nice upgrade in terms of stats. It's a decent bump. But, I mean, Moon Helmet's all you realistically need. Chat admitting that they might have some aging eyes. But again, I appreciate you all looking out all the same. But Hatak's now in go mode, beelining it for Windia. Heading straight for Max ship, going to go to the end here. And I'm wondering if he turned on True Form Shuffle for Dark King. We'll see when we get there. It's like my favorite setting of the randomizer.
It is?
Yeah, we've had a ton of talented people in the community come out and submit some alternate sprite work for the true forms of phase 3 and 4 of Dark King. And honestly, I don't think there's a bad one among the bunch. I think all of them have been really cool.
I will hold my tongue at that.
That being said, OG King is still also a great sprite. Don't get me wrong.
I think OG King is one of the best.
He is.
I have also designed some Dark Kings. I think OG King's the best.
I mean, what's more imposing than a giant space spider? Let's be real. Speaking of imposing space spiders, though, Talk's not beelining it straight to the end. Gonna take a detour here and try to get a couple levels on Ben. I think he wants that safety net at level 20.
Would make sense. But the Dark King does have his attacks randomized.
Indeed, but he also could be scaled up to level up to 125% of his vanilla stats. So, 125% scaling plus the HP scaling of some other enemy attacks could make King hit you with a stick for 1,000 damage.
Mm-hmm.
So,
should I go
absolutely terrifying.
Other damage formulas, since that's kind of my thing as a commentator.
Yeah, if you want to lean into why Stick King is scary, that that might shed some insight into chat.
All right.
As to why he scares the crap out of me.
By Stick, which attack specifically
Branch.
do you need? Branch? All right. Let's go find Branch. We got Headbutt, Body Slam, Choke Up. There's Bite, Branch. There it is. Okay. Branch is one of the weakest attacks in the game. It has a power value of 5. It uses attack formula B, which, if you let me pull it up real quick, attack formula B does, I don't know, it's the second strongest out of the 3 different attack or damage formulas for monsters. Well, technically 4. There's also the debuff attack damage formula, which is just a flat 60 damage, minus your defense. But damage formula B says take the power value of your attack plus the attack stat of the monster plus a variable which I've named G, because my name is Giga and I get to do that in my remake. G is your max HP divided by 8.
There it is. And that is why Branch is scary on Dark King. I've been hit by the dumbest of numbers on Dark King Phase 1 by that stupid move by Branch. It's absolutely terrifying. And every time I see it, I clench up a little bit. But yeah, chat, it looks like Hatox is in the home stretch here. Just needs to find Mac.
The Dark King's vanilla health value is 40,000. Now, I believe there's also a boss flag. I could be wrong. I believe there's also a boss flag. And that boss flag divides G by a further 10. So let's pull the calculator up again. 40,000 divided by 80 would be 500. Do you get damaged for around, let's say, 5,000-ish? minus some change.
Sometimes if he crits, he'll hit over a K. It's that and 6 pseudopod slap. Those are the two moves that are the spookiest. Go mode just been hit by Ultima Derp here. So again, not too far behind. That claw exploration really helping him catch up to Hatox here.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think Hatox found White or Meteor.
Both of our runners are in go mode, though.
Yeah, so Ultima's actually a little more better set offensively for the final fight because of the extra time spent exploring. Hatox, meanwhile, is basically going to be banking on Phoebe the whole time. Yeah, and Ultima found Mac earlier, so...
Ultima also isn't out of bombs.
Yeah, we'll see if those come into play.
Well, when you're behind, you want every advantage you can get. And being out of bombs and not having to wait for that animation is an advantage.
Indeed. Also, I believe Hatox is a little bit more familiar with vanilla layout. I believe Hatox speedruns vanilla. So he's intimately familiar with Doom Castle vanilla layout.
Mm-hmm. That is I agree, not you're right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's just zooming through these floors.
Ultima is making his way through, though.
Yeah. Nah, there's going to be like one or two stumbles probably here or there.
This is still anyone's game.
Yes, indeed. Like, King will be the great decider. And especially without good damage options on Ben, Hatox will lose a little bit of his lead going into that fight.
Ultima definitely not having quite as much knowledge about the layouts of the map.
Yep.
So right that's really unfortunate.
Yeah, at the very beginning of this floor, you have to cut left and jump across and hit that switch, or you'll get what just happened here, where you basically get the mean setup here. So now having to go back through and go through all of that navigation again. Thankfully, it's still pretty quick. With the speed hack, this is all pretty snappy.
Mm-hmm.
But every second will help maintain Hatox's lead. Again, once we get the King, that'll wane a little bit because of the lack of offensive options. He's got Flare, but that's going to do half damage because of the way the resistant shuffles came out.
In particular, the speed hack just doubles your movement on the overworld. And in dungeons. It doesn't double any animation speeds. It's just movement.
Indeed. And thank you so much for the raid, 10. Hello, folks joining us here. We're at the home stretch here, making light work of this big lizard. Weak to water damage. We saw fire, water damage roll into fire, so nuking, quite literally, Wyvern there. It's got to feel fantastic.
I couldn't imagine it. How do you think Hatox is feeling like overall right now? You think he thinks he's a lead?
I think a little bit of his indecisions probably made him a little on edge in terms of his positioning, especially when it came down to deciding whether or not to full dive Lava Dome or take a hint, like farm for hint money. So probably feeling like he's a little bit behind. That could also explain why he didn't take the extra time to fish for White and Meteor. But again, the comfort with the vanilla game is also going to help compensate for that little bit of unease, potentially. Again, I won't speak for the other runners' mindset, but I'm just speculating at this point. All right, let's see the Jerkbird lineup. What skills are we going to see?
double... Was that double sword?
Hard to tell. Usually I go off audio cues, but unfortunately here in the commentator booth, we don't have game audio, so I can't tell, except for being able to catch the
It was
text
double sword.
and the one frame that it blinks. There we go. Usually if I can hear the audio, though, I can tell, even if I miss the one frame of the text box, I can tell what the attack is.
There was an attack that started with an SH, I believe. some type of S attack.
Yeah, but cranking out the damage here on Za, he's rolled a little thick. Usually he'd be in phase 2 before this Scythe Shield by this point. So he might have rolled a little 125-ish, and he's just cranking out the damage here.
That was mucus.
Yeah, mucus scaling hurts. Especially because for some reason it crits all the time.
Interesting.
Yeah, mucus has a stupidly high crit rate for some reason. And our tracker with their eagle eyes has spotted that the SH, the looking move, was scrunch. So, just again, the HP scaling on some of the regular enemy attacks just makes these bosses super dangerous for no reason. Doing 700 plus damage because of the way the formula works it out.
Big thanks out to Nutmeg for tracking, by the way.
Yeah, huge shout outs to Nutmeg for being our second pair of eyes behind the booth when we're watching the streams. But Hatox is on to the final fight. Ultimator not far behind. Just one Za fight behind. Again, losing a little bit of time in the navigation, just either because of lack of familiarity or just not having it fresh in their mind. Going into Dark King here, let's see how this shakes out. We'll be quiet for the first phase, unless something truly outrageous happens. That's something truly outrageous. All right, strong start. Critting into a 1080. And paper thin phase 1, though. We got a glass cannon king.
He's always a cannon, though.
Oh, yeah, always a cannon, just whether or not he's been built structurally sound or made of glass.
That can't possibly have been Iron Nail. I must have misread that.
Again, scaling does weird things on King.
No, Iron Nail does flat damage. I'm
yeah, it's like 1 damage, right?
No, it's 60 minus your defense.
So yeah, that usually shakes out to eventually subtracting down to 1 by the end of the game.
But at the beginning of the game, it can be a little bit more.
Yeah, and at this point in the game, we're actually happy to see just status ailment moves, typically, because we're usually set up with Ben to have full immunity. The only status ailment we don't like to see is the one that we just saw Phoebe with. She's now the most dangerous character in the game.
Both runners do have full immunity on Ben.
Ooh, and that's why she's the most dangerous character in the game. This might be leading up to a wipe.
Phoebe chose
Did she
death.
rebound? Yeah, she did. And Sky Attack. Rip. Yep. You never want to see a partner confused, especially when they're loaded out with wizard spells, because they will use them against the party. It is very dangerous. Le spooky.
Certainly. But that's also why it's a good idea to leave them on auto, because if you get confused and they see that before they take their turn, your partner will cast heal or use a heal potion on you.
Yes. And that's one of the very many options available for life/auto strats that a lot of our seasoned runners of the randomizers will take full advantage of. A lot of skilled players in the community know exactly when they should probably be using life or preempting an auto command for the 50-50 on whether or not they go down in this turn.
It's also why
And
the Dark King is the great equalizer.
Yeah, very true. And I think we missed a wipe over here on Ultima Derp's screen. The Jerkbird doing what Jerkbird do must have taken him down, because I'm seeing a phase 1 Jerkbird sprite, and it's been a good little while going on here.
I think that is the case, yes. I'm
Yeah,
pretty
and
sure I saw phase 2 at least.
Oh no. Ultima's set up on offense, but I don't think he's got life. Yeah, if Ultima's missing life, this is now way scarier of a fight because he has no defense. And there he is, chat. The spookiest enemy in the whole game, the truest of true forms of Dark King. You might be slightly traumatized if you're a speedrunner of the game. It's Behemoth.
The biggest RNG check ever in the tutorial. Arguably, SMT3 Nocturne's tutorial is a bigger RNG check. But this one's ours, so...
He's also the very first fight of the game, and for the devs to be like, yeah, you can lose here. You have no other option but to fight, and you could just get crit to death. Good luck.
I mean, you do have other options, it's just they're objectively worse, because they don't do anything.
Indeed, and yeah, Zuh is giving Ultima the business. My heart goes out to Ultima here, because missing that life spell in Mines is just ultimately making this a really, really hard fight, because if Phoebe goes down, that's the fight. There is no recovery. And Zuh is just cranking out 700 plus damage like it's nothing. Meanwhile, I haven't seen anything too nasty out of Phase 3 King. This might be a coast to the end for Hatox. Chat, have I missed anything super dangerous?
What's chat saying?
Not much right now, besides, the Behemoth hate, which is warranted.
Just Flamerous moveset.
Yeah, which honestly you love to see. Flamerous is the baby of babies of this fight. He's honestly less scary than Behemoth. And That's time. GG's to Hatox coming in with a 110.45. Checking the race room now. It looks like Hatox has taken second place tonight. First place going to 10, who clocked in a 1 hour and 8 millisecond. 1 hour, 8 second run. So GG's to 10, GG's to Hatox. Let's get some good vibes going for Ultima Derp as they wrap up here tonight. They can get through this. I know it's just going to be a little RNG dependent, but they can get through this.
If you don't want to watch the fight, watch the ending. See how Kaylee acts.
Indeed. And also getting a quick update from our tracker here. So Life was in Wintry Cave. So if Derp decides to fade this fight, so let's say opts to, dip out on the next wipe if there is another wipe, and go back to their save, they can exit out. They'll have to do a little searching, but Life is in Wintry Cave.
Haley's the only one to hug them.
Indeed.
Then again, I don't think Phoebe has that sprite.
Which one?
The sideways grabbing sprite. Handout.
I believe so. I could check the sprite sheet real quick, but I don't think Phoebe has that kind of sprite.
Well, the Ben sprite for Phoebe is going to have sprites that don't exist for the NPC version of Phoebe.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I meant I have the vanilla.
Oh, gotcha. Welcome in booth. Is that Hatox?
That is Hatox. GG's.
Oh, hello. GG's.
How you feeling? How was it?
I was very embarrassed.
I mean, I still think you did great. All things considered.
I'm just curious. Was I the last person to claw?
To a claw, yes. To Dragon Claw, no.
You were at least behind Ultima for that cat claw.
Okay, because well, let me just say right now that if Artio is watching, Artio would have beat us all to that claw because he would have gotten it at like 20 minutes.
Yeah, Charm Claw was in P Tower, so that was available. Honestly speaking, though, I don't think you had too bad of a routing go. I think we saw you have a little bit of indecision at the very end when you decided to farm money for the hint to figure out where max cap was. Did you feel
Yes.
bad leaving Dome, farming money, and then finding out it was in Dome anyways?
No, because okay, so there were a series of errors there. I should have farmed the money before I went to tree. Because then I would know where to go and I wouldn't have spent my time climbing tree, but I did need shards. So I figured between dome and tree, one of them was going to give me shards. And the other one was going to give me, unfortunately, the cap.
Yeah.
The hint helped, and then I did, I think, oopsie number probably 15, when I hit the switch to open the lava dome gate, and then exited out without finding the lobby. That was a mistake. I went straight for the big gate because Baby Brain said, "Oh look, there's Hydra."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Shuffle Internal said, "No, it's not actually Hydra."
Yeah, Shuffle Internal had a great laugh at my expense.
I mean, so now that you're here in the booth, everything's all said and done. I did want to get your opinion. How are you liking Shuffle Internal? Have you practiced any other Shuffle Internal seeds before doing the race tonight?
Yeah, so I was practicing Shuffle Internal because I don't actually play Dungeon Shuffle at all. I like my layouts, firmly set, and I know where I like to know where I'm supposed to go. So it took a little bit of mind bending to get used to Dungeon Shuffle, even Internal Shuffle.
That's understandable.
But all in all, I was saying this earlier. It's nowhere near as terrible as Dungeon Mix, and I say terrible in quotes. Like if that's your spice that you like, just spice up your randomizer. It's there. I personally love it, but I can understand the confusion that full mix does. Like you got to break out like a notepad. You got to keep track of what's where. Like it's a task. Like it's a full blown puzzle. Shuffle Internal, at least you have the stability of knowing that every location is going to be on that overworld tile and what it's supposed to be.
Right, and so like I know when I'm starting to run out of rooms, like that's like for me, my strategy is to always find the lobby of the dungeon. So like Ice Palace first floor, Tree is kind of messy, but Tree fourth floor has the most rooms in it. Lava Dome, the main entrance, Bone Dungeon. The Bone Dungeon has like two. Actually it's the one in the back, the one with the 3 skulls, because they all branch off into different points.
But yeah, finding like the nexus of the dungeon and going from there. It's a very nice strategy to have. Speaking of very nice strategies, Ultima cleanly through phase 1 and 2. We saw phase 2 there. Gave you that business on the first attempt. That was rough. Like it was just beating you.
Well, let's see. Phase 1 had a 6 pseudopods to Ben, followed by a confused Phoebe, who then meteored the party. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, that was like a 1-2-3 punch. It was so nasty. I was like, I feel like a commentator cursed you a little bit because I mentioned it's like we would like to see status ailments hit Ben. There's one status ailment we don't like to see, and literally right when I said that, he was like confusing Phoebe, and I was like, that's the one. Phoebe's now the most dangerous enemy in the game, and she sure enough meteored the party.
Oh, well, I mean, sometimes you just got to give it up to DK because, like, we beat him down every run. You got to give him a few GGs somewhere.
Fair. I mean, we don't call him the great equalizer for no reason. He is truly a menace. But thankfully, phase 3 and 4 rolled fairly simple. I think we're about to see a GG here on Ultima Derb's screen in just a few turns, if not this turn. I remember phase 4 being very slim.
Yes, phase 4 was slim. Phase 3 didn't have a whole lot of scary things in it.
And there it is, GG. Throw it up your GGs for Ultimate Derp in chat. We'll go ahead and see if they want to jump in the booth and join us for this interview. So that is going to do it for us tonight. That is everybody who participated in the community event race. So in first place, we had 1 hour, 8 seconds. Hatox, you clocked in at 1 hour, 10 minutes, 34 seconds. And Ultimate Derp wrapping up with the 1 hour, 18 minute, 14 seconds. Very respectable. And we're joined in the booth by Ultimate Derp. GG's.
GG's indeed.
We were just picking Hatox's brain a little bit about the seed, and he was sharing some of his woes about some of his decisions and some of the pain
GG's
points.
indeed.
How are you feeling after the seed, Derp?
Okay. First of all, who ginned this seed?
Got it.
I came up with the settings, but Ham rolled it, so you can blame him for the roll.
Okay. Because, like, that up front took me a minute to click in my head. I actually have to exit these enemies off the field, not fight them because they're too strong.
Oh yeah, those flame lizards were definitely giving you the business. What they rolled, like what, petrification, flame attack, and then some benign attack, but mostly they were just flaming and petrifying the party.
It was Poison Fang was the other one that caused poison.
Yeah.
That's why you ran to Aegis Shield early on to help with that. I figured also gain some levels from the GP battlefield down there would help, but not really when Flame Breath Hydra Flame Breath hits hard. We all know
Yeah.
this.
Indeed. Yeah, no, I think both of you had a little bit of woes. I mean, yours was pretty early Ultima, but you bounced back later on. But both of you hit like 1 or 2 encounters with like, these are a little spicy. And that is thanks to our balanced expert randomizer that we rolled tonight on the flag set. I mean, overall, I think both of you have been running some practice seeds on these. How do y'all feel about that randomizer setting? Because it's brand new to the 1.6 patch.
I think the randomizer setting is pretty good, especially for a competitive set. Because, like, generally it just puts you in other situations where you're having to think about what your tools are. This one's definitely a Phoebe seat, though, because of the fact that, one, Meteor was actually holy, which is unresisted. And secondly, it's Phoebe.
Indeed. Yeah, the other option was Ruben, and it was like,
No.
Is
We
he
don't
really
like
an
Ruben.
option?
No.
Yeah.
He is
No.
not an option. Okay, so maybe an option early game, like mid game, but definitely not an option late game.
Indeed.
I had. Sorry.
So
No, go ahead.
Heavings,
Yeah.
I have a question about the start.
Yeah.
Because normally in Overworld, because in Overworld Shuffle, a lot of bosses are logicked out. So I was just surprised that the mine battlefield, because it can be deadly at times, held our initial progression.
Yeah.
Was that a thing? Is that always been a thing?
That can be a thing. I think the only thing that the battlefields are considered for that the development team has had to account for recently is before there was a problem where coins could be placed behind vendors, and if you did an overworld shuffle with battlefield shuffled, there was very rare instances where the monetary rewards available from fights was not enough to get you the money, like especially if you had it set to 0 encounters in only battlefields. Very rarely, you would get money gated in softlock because you wouldn't be able to get enough money to buy the coin. But that's been fixed, as far as I know.
That's good.
So that's no longer an issue. But yeah, that Battlefield Gate was a bit of a brutal thing. But I feel like, honestly, being the one who created the seat flag set, it was a bit fair. I mean, because let's be honest, there's no other encounters in the game. The only fights you have in the game are battlefields, and at that point, battlefields being tuned up a little bit to offset the lack of fights didn't feel too awful. Although, beating your head against the wall never feels great.
Yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
I made the right choice going level 20 going into Doom Castle, because like Jerkbird was being a jerk for a minute with it, since I also did not pick up life.
Yeah, I saw that. Like, you got Hatox had gotten a Dark King, and I checked back on you, and Jerkbird was still in phase 1, and I was like, what happened? And I was looking through your spell list when you went through, and I was like, oh no, he doesn't have life. And he was just giving you the business. it was pretty mean, all things considered.
See, I didn't want to go back to Paz and get 41 Phoebe though, because Paz is just as bad as Jerkbird most of the time. Because again,
Yeah,
all birds are jerks.
indeed. And I mean, let's be real. Level 34 Phoebe was enough to get you guys comfortably through that final fight. Thankfully, it didn't roll too crazy. Phase 1 and Phase 4 being slim definitely helped out.
I am surprised DK was a pushover. And I think the main fight was just the for the most part. Also, funny thing, fire being water made that refight with Hydra super easy.
Oh yeah, how'd you guys dopamine receptors take into seeing Flare hit for over 4K on Wyvern? I'm sure that felt great.
It felt good. We like seeing
I was
big numbers.
not expecting that.
Yeah, I
It's
was
like when you
staring
throw
at
out a
my
flare, it was
weak-
like, wait, big numbers.
I was staring at my weakness list and I can do this.
Yeah. That kind of brings me back to you, Hatox, because you run vanilla. How does have you played with the resistant shuffle at all?
I have. I'm not a fan.
It kind of throws off your your legacy memory, like all the legacy memory you've devoted to speedrunning.
It throws off the legacy memory, and for whatever reason, no matter how many times people explain it to me, I just don't get it correct sometimes. And then I forget
Yeah.
halfway through the run what elements I'm looking out for. So on resistant shuffle, I just figure out whether flare is usable or not at the end, and if not, what is my nuke going to be? And
You know,
just
why
work
are
it
we
out.
down the totem of power.
Yep.
I
And then
think
when in
an
doubt,
easy,
white's an option.
I think an easy way of visualizing it in your head is the arrow that's pointing from one element to the other. Just replace that with "is now." So for our list,
Yeah.
Yep.
So in this case, fire is now water. Yeah.
right?
I mean, it's an option. I like Hatox's viewpoint, and I like to pick his brain on his viewpoint just because I do know that you speedrun the vanilla. So getting this from a speedrunner's view is always fun for my sake, because I've never actually put up a time on speedruns.com. I've been mostly sticking to the randomizer. So getting that viewpoint's always nice. I mean, in transitioning to my next talking point for you two, I did want to ask. So next month, we're going back to the flag set that we do for the main tournament race. But June, we're going to be doing free for all flags again. And I wanted to get y'all's opinion on this. Hatox, starting with you. What settings would you like to see? What would you like to see? What would you not like to see? If you had any requests for what the devs could cook up for the next showcase, what would it be?
I'm still hedging my bets for spoiler log.
That could be a run. I mean, that's definitely a viable option. It's like memorize the spoiler log. We've played with that in the past, and for chat, in case you're curious, there's an option to generate the seed with the spoiler log. If you toggle that option on, it changes the hash, so that way there's no cheating available. But the whole idea behind that race is start with spoiler log, and you kind of shuffle things up, and at that point, it's a skill parse to kind of route a preset, like the quickest way to get to go mode based on what the spoiler log says. It's a really fun idea, and I've done a couple of those races. They're a great time, and that definitely could be on the block.
Have you done a co-op in that particular?
I don't think we've done a showcase with that particular setting turned on now, so that would definitely be something really cool to show the audience.
What I mean by that is, you got a runner, and you have someone else with the spoiler log in front of them.
Oh, pilot
like rally
spoiler.
racing.
So one
like
person has
rally.
one person has the log and is the pilot, and then one person drives.
Plays the video game.
Oh, I actually like that idea personally, because like that would actually be fun to do.
That would be really cool. We might. I'll talk amongst the other mods, and we'll see if that can definitely be something for next month. But what about you, Ultima? What would you like to see?
Okay. Staring at this, give me self-destruct everything. Benjamin level +5 on partner.
The self-destruct atomizer is such a meme category, and I'm here for it. Like, the meme energy that setting entails is honestly hilarious, because mini bosses become more terrifying than main bosses, especially the final four, because they come with mobs. It's all about how you handle action economy, and if your speed's the right, like, the correct stat to properly set up a life to live through the self-destructs.
So I gotta ask, since I don't play with Randomizer self-destruct ever, do they include other attacks?
No,
it's all self-destruct.
It's just self-destruct.
Everything is
just
enemy? Self-destruct.
Yes.
Yeah, every enemy gets a self-destruct, and if you wipe on a self-destruct, there
Not
was a
just
bug
every
on
enemy
Battlefield.
gets a self-destruct, but every enemy only self-destructs is what I'm asking.
Correct.
Everything.
Correct. Every enemy only self-destructs. And the funny thing is when we were testing that setting in Battlefield, if you took a wipe and the last enemy self-destructed and took you with it, it would actually increment the counter down. But if you were on the last fight for that battlefield and you took a death win there, it would roll the counter over to 255 remaining fights.
Ooh.
Yep.
And you would still get the reward, but then when you restarted the fight, you'd lose the reward. So you would have to take another 255 fights to get the reward from that battlefield. It was funny.
I don't think I wanna.
Fixed. It's been fixed. But yeah, no, those are definitely some settings that we can play with, and we've got a couple more months of these, so I'm all for workshopping these. I want these to be fun flags. In chat, if any of this chaos, like this nonsense we're spitting out about some of the settings we want to see sounds interesting to you, please join the community Discord. There's a link on ffmkrando.net. Hop in the Discord. We have a channel for the 2025 community races. They're open to everybody. You join in the racetime.gg room. You don't have to be on stream. You can still join. It's a great time. I highly encourage it. But with that being said, we are getting close to time here, and I do want to give FFR back their channel, but I do want to go ahead and give out final thoughts. Atak, starting with you, our winner on stream for tonight. Any final thoughts for the audience? Any final thoughts about the new update for 1.6 on the randomizer? Anything you want to say?
This randomizer is a really great way to breathe life into a real classic game from the SNES. So I encourage everyone, just get out there, give it a chance, give it a try. The community is great. The developer is super active in Wildham. Havix, Giga are all there in the Discord, helping out new players and veterans alike. So yeah, you guys just jump in, and thank you very much to the broadcast team, and to our tracker Nutmeg, and to everyone else who put this together.
Awesome. Yeah, and you, Ultima, any final thoughts?
In particular, looking through the version 1.6 settings, there's a lot of stuff you can do with this. Some of it is a little crazy in where you can actually make impossible seeds depending on your settings, but you get the right settings tweaked correctly, you can make some pretty fun seeds. Because as I was speaking about self-destruct earlier, I was having a blast trying to think, how do I do this and this? It makes you think, and I like it.
Yeah, the options are pretty fleshed out at this point, to where you can kind of mix and match settings to make whatever kind of puzzle you want. And I think that's why a lot of folks who've picked up the randomizer haven't put it down yet, because there's just so much variety, and it's such a quick randomizer. You can make runs that go, at most 3 hours if you really want to be masochistic, but a lot of times even our median to medium expert settings can clock in at most an hour and a half to 2 hours. So definitely one sitting worthy of a randomizer, so nothing too out there. But that is going to do it for us tonight, chat. Again, huge shout out to our runners, GG's to Otox, GG's to Ultimate Derp. Thank you so much for both volunteering to be on stream. Without you two, we wouldn't have a show tonight. And speaking of folks we wouldn't have a show with tonight, shout outs to my co-commentator Giga for always being a wealth of knowledge and someone I can easily bounce off of in the booth. Yeah, always great to have you in here with me. And huge shout outs again to our tracker Nutmeg, without whom we'd miss a ton of stuff and not know what we were talking about sometimes. So I do have one final announcement. There has been an announcement in the Discord, and I want to go ahead and convey it here, that there is a new project for the randomizer that the community is working on. It's essentially like a master quest, so to speak, for Mystic Quest. So it's going to have new dungeons, new sprites, new story, and all that is being developed in the Mystic Quest Randomizer Discord. So if you're interested in helping on that project or contributing ideas or just wanting to see how that's coming along, please, please, please join the community Discord at ffmqrando.net to keep apprised of that situation. That is very much in its infancy. It's something that's just started, but it's a very exciting prospect, and I can't wait to see what the dev team comes up with for the final product there. But that is going to go ahead and do it for us tonight. Thank you all so much for watching. Again, chat, without whom we wouldn't have a show to put on at all. Again, my name is Hebbings, and I've been joined by Giga, and that is going to do it for us tonight. Everybody take care. We'll see you all next time. Peace.
Have a good one.